I'm throwing down the gauntlet. The left-handed, left-handed gauntlet, that is. Oh, by the way, yeah, that's what they're known as now. We're not actually going to have the characters discuss that at all. No, they're just the Arcanian League now, so, that's what they're going to be referred to as in the future. The Jaws of Trouble, and also dragons. Many, many dragons. The forces of White Wings, power in the sky. They're not afraid, because they cannot die. They fight. It's a deadly might. Gonna turn their foe into a pile of dust. Alright, so this chapter's actually pretty interesting. I do rather like this one, but looks pretty sparse, right? A lot of open space, not too many enemies. There's a thief over here. We're gonna have to get to that village before he does. Oh, here are the White Wings, by the way. Led, of course, by Minerva. So we also know that Polycatra and Est are here as well, given they're under her command. Because we already know firsthand, they're all pretty tough, especially Est. That's not what you're gonna be doing? So there. Ah, is that why Minerva's working under Dollar? We definitely know that Minerva's not really the type who would really want to be going through with this, but now it seems like there's a hostage situation, and that's why she's going against us. Unfortunately, while she might not be doing it by her own will, she is being threatened, and as such, she is going to be attacking us. So, right off the bat, Martha's going to want to go down south. Hopefully you still have a thief, or if not, some sort of door key lying around, because you just want to go down south to that village as soon as you can. Of course, it's not going to be long before the White Wings approach us, so we do want to be careful of that. Now, there is plenty of cover here, but that also works to our detriment as well, because, well, first things first, they are flyer units, and therefore, they have pretty good range. They're going to be able to maneuver around us very easily. And of course, as that guy in that house over there mentioned, Minerva does have a fairly powerful weapon. It's definitely not something we really want to cross, though Minerva herself is also very tough because Wyvern Riders in general are pretty tough units. They're usually pretty tough to take down, and unfortunately there are two of them, including Minerva. And that's going to be taking most of our power to actually defeat. Because let me tell you, at this moment, Wyvern Riders are still pretty tough. Gonna want to be careful about them. Do kind of want to try to maybe lure them in one way. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm not quite sure if this is the best idea, because I don't really want to be separating my units too much, but that's kind of what I'm doing. Because despite the fact that that dude was all like, oh, you can't charge them head-on, you gotta use my tactics, his tactics still seem to be charge the enemy? I don't really know what he's doing differently, but oh well, whatever. It's his strategy, and he's also going to die by the end of the chapter, so hey, what do I care? That thief really shouldn't be problematic at all, though. He starts very far away from the village, and, well, you're in front of him. Just put your hand out, and when he tries to pass you, just sort of shove him. Yeah, that sort of thing. Alright, so this is what I meant earlier. It's not really the best formation, because now they've all kind of separated, which is definitely not good for me. So they're just going to be all over the place while I have to try and take care of them. This isn't exactly going to be the easiest, and since they can fly, that also means I kind of have to finish them off as soon as possible because, unfortunately, they will probably be able to get to Lena fairly easily if I don't finish them off as soon as possible. Now, while Pegasus Knights might not be the most hardy of units, of course, the White Wings themselves are all pretty tough, and you don't want to mess with them. Plus, we've got that dragon over there. And we also want to take care of that thief before he becomes a problem. Ugh. See what I mean? Alright, so what I want to do here is, I want to defeat Minerva first. I am missing out on a bit of experience by defeating Minerva. However, I just want to end this as soon as possible and get rid of a bunch of units. And it seems like Board can take care of this. Don't worry too much about killing them, because if any of the White Wings, quote-unquote, die in this chapter, they'll just retreat. Even if you go after the other White Wings first, then they won't die, so don't worry about accidentally killing them off and losing a unit. But I do want to take care of Minerva, get her out of the way, because there's still 3 flyer units I have to take care of. They're going to be a nuisance as it is, so having the main White Wings here would have just made things much worse, especially since they would have come after me in waves. Just Minerva first, and then all the other ones. If you notice the damage against Board, though, that's why I wanted to hit her with an arrow first, because she stings a lot. That would have put Board in quite a bit of danger, and he's supposed to be the one with a lot of health, so yeah, I want to take care of him. Of course, hitting her with magic isn't a bad idea either, because while Pegasus Knights might have good resistance, Wyvern Riders don't. So whereas magic isn't good against Pegasus Knights, it's actually very good against this type of unit, which doesn't really make too much sense because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but in this game, Wyvern Riders are actually promotions for the Pegasus Knights, which doesn't really make too much sense to me. They do become their own separate units later on, but for the time being, nah. There is an item, I know it's in 12, but it does allow you to actually take an alternate class for the Pegasus Knights. It's called the Elysian Whip. In other games, it is generally the item that actually promotes Pegasus Knights, but in this game, I think it's this game in 12, but it does actually give you something that's not the Wyvern Riders, and therefore you can keep your high amount of resistance. If I remember correctly, there are Elysian Whips hidden in Fire Emblem 12, but not this game. It's on the online shop, which is basically just a connect to Wi-Fi thing, and you use points, not like real currency thing or anything like that, but basically I think it's kind of like Renown in that the more stuff you do in-game, you have points so you can buy various items, but you have to have Wi-Fi for it. It is kind of like the thing in Awakening, more or less. If you have played Awakening, then yeah, basically you just defeat like spot pass teams and the like, and you get points so you can buy stuff. But yeah, as such, since there aren't any Elysian Whips available in Shadow Dragon, yeah, you pretty much have to go with Wyvern Riders. So hope Seda doesn't like that Pegasus too much, because she's not going to have it for that long. Especially if she keeps leveling up. She's at a decent level. Not quite like Board, because Board is kind of a crazy high level. And oh, here's the other part of this chapter. Oh, but before we get to that, we have a new character. Well, class alone, technically speaking. Well, he says he's useless, and we haven't been to Pyrathi, but we did nab this Firestone a little while ago. Now, Bantu here might look like he has some low stats, however he's a Monoket, and Monokets are able to turn into dragons, and once transformed into a dragon, his stats actually raise, making it so he's actually pretty fierce in battle. Unfortunately, he's only good for so long because of his low growth rates, so he's not really going to be that good overall. Still though, if you do want to wreck a few guys as a dragon, well, Bantu here is your man. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. We do have a dragon now, which is rad as hell, and for a while he is a pretty good unit, but his stat growths just aren't that good, so all in all, he's not going to be fantastic. Just remember that while his base stats might not look the best, Monoket's power is usually just... it mostly comes from the Dragon Stone, more than anything else. So he is gonna be kinda useful later. Not now because, we're kinda far away from the fight, and we've already been ambushed by these guys down here, so unfortunately I don't think he and Marth are going to be able to catch up to the action, but, well, this is where the chapter actually gets pretty cool. Every other... oh, I thought it was every other turn. I think it's every other turn after maybe this turn, but yeah, there are gonna be a lot of guys spawning, and we need to take care of them. So this is where it gets a bit tricky, but also kind of fun. Just because I think the best way to go about this is pretty much just plugging up those fortresses, just fighting your way through, and then standing on top of the fortresses so that reinforcements cannot arrive. Obviously, you're going to want Seda for this, which can be a bit risky because some of these guys do have bows, I believe, but Seda's good just because you can move around to a fortress really quickly. And other than that, there are a few mountainous areas, so it might be a little hard for Cavaliers to go through, but they're still useful for ending reinforcements as well. I mean, really, you should just see a chapter like this and then immediately use a Cavalier, or as many Cavaliers as you want, because, as I've said before, they're good for wide open spaces, which is why this is a bit troublesome, because the enemy has Cavaliers, which are good in wide open spaces. Oh, and since I didn't mention it before, even if you're not going to use Bantu, which you're probably not going to because he's not that good, keep him alive under any circumstance. Like, even if you're going to do all the guidance chapters, keep him alive. You need him alive. To recruit another character, it's going to be much later in the game, but we do want him to be living. Generally, that is pretty helpful, that somebody is alive. Now, I am using Board here. That's a decent idea because, of course, he does have a lot of health, but it's not the best idea to be using a fighter here just because some of these guys do have swords, and as such, they have a bit of an advantage over fighters. Of course, if you're going to be using a fighter with better speed than Board, that might not be the worst idea. They might be able to evade pretty well. Board can't, though, because his speed really isn't all that good. We went over this already. Normally I'd want a fighter with more speed, but he started with the hammer, therefore I like him. You also want to be very careful with units like Merrick. I believe I had a previous attempt. It was either him or Caster, where I had them like... oh, I think only one unit could actually attack them, but that kind of killed him. I'm pretty sure it was Merrick and not Caster, because I think Caster can at least survive something. But yeah, he kind of just got wrecked by like one, maybe two units. But I had to restart because of him. Thanks a lot, Merrick. Good going there. Here I come to save the day. Don't worry guys, Martha's here. just wait a minute, and then I've got this guy. He can transform into a dragon and roast these guys. It's gonna be really cool. He's totally got this, guys. Guys, you're gonna just keep kicking their asses, but just give us like 2 more turns. It's a-okay. We got this. We've got this. You're gonna complete this chapter without us, aren't you? Actually, these knights are surprisingly troublesome. I mean, I guess we are near the end of the chapter, but I don't think I really took into account them approaching us right now. I kind of wanted to take care of the Cavaliers first. But no matter. I can take care of these guys easy enough anyway. There you go, see? That's done with. A few more guys are going to spawn, but for the most part, we've got this in the bag. It's pretty much just controlling those first few waves of units that's actually a problem, and you jerk! He wasted a hammer. That was incredibly rude. Oh, don't heal him. I swear, some clerics. Don't encourage that hammer-wasting jerk. I mean, yeah, I know, he's not on my side and you are, but nonetheless, you saw that, right? He wasted a hammer. That thing's valuable. Screw it. I know I said I wanted to kill fewer clerics, but, you know, it was kinda rude for him to heal him. Oh yeah, and of course, I guess more units are going to be spawning, and therefore I don't really want to have to deal with a cleric healing guys in the middle of everything. Better safe than sorry and all that. Oh man, Bantu's so close, he can almost get to the action. He's so close, he's just barely not making it. Good job, Merrick, good job. I really shouldn't be so down on Merrick. I mean, he's not the worst unit, and in fairness, if he's not that good, it's because I haven't really been training him at all. I mean, it's more my fault than anything else, and that's actually the perfect position. Well, for me it is. For him, that's a pretty poorly placed fortress overall, because, yeah, he can just get stuck in the corner easily like that. Meaning, he's going to attack me, but he won't die, therefore there won't be any reinforcements, and I can actually just move somebody right onto that tile, probably Julian. Yep, see? Kill him, and reinforcements are done. Right, so now we can just focus on this guy. Yeah, you keep going on and on about tactics, but I mean, I guess that was actually a pretty good move, having so many reinforcements, but at the same time, really wasn't that effective in the end, so... Dude, you're just kind of, bit lackluster, underperforming, stuff like that. Well, I guess I'm going to kill him with a hammer. I know, it's kinda how I finish most people off, but hey, who says I have to be creative? No one was really betraying you. I mean, I guess Minerva decided to retreat, but hey, whose fault is that? Oh, I'm going to threaten your sister. Oh, you're running away? How surprising. Yes. Alright, well, we're going to heal one more time, and then we're going to finish this up. See, that wasn't so bad. I found this pretty fun, even if I did screw up once. Maybe twice. Like the one we just met, who's probably standing in the same room? Let's not be rude, guys. Bantu's still alive. And now he's doing it a second time. You'd think we would have been able to prevent this, but no. I knew everything you just told me, Malladus. There was no reason to have this exposition whatsoever. You were Anri's last male descendant, and then Fire Emblem Awakening happened and oh, looks like women can use the falchion. Whoops! That probably would have been helpful information to know beforehand.